Retro fans, welcome to another episode of Retro Gaming Memories. In this episode we're going to do something a little bit different. I've dug out the old Atari 2600, as you can see here. One of my favourite consoles, as I've said in many of my videos. But yeah, recently I got a cartridge through the mail. Stargate. Give me a close up. Yay. If you watch my pickups videos, you'll have seen me going through them and getting Stargate. And when I put it on and played it, I thought this is very good. This is much enjoyable. And then I realised, I thought, you know, I've got Defender 2 for the Atari. I wonder how different Stargate is to Defender 2, because it's a little bit complicated. In the arcade, you obviously had Defender. And then you had Stargate, which was the sequel, essentially Defender 2. So on the Atari you had Defender, and then you had Defender 2, which I always presumed was kind of like a reboot almost of Defender. It had elements from Stargate, as in it had the Stargate jumping at the warp portal thing. But I presumed that based on feedback of Defender, they basically just kind of improved the original. So I chucked in Defender 2, which I have here, and it's the exact same game as Stargate. Stargate, I think, is the NTSC release, although it seems to be a PAL version that I've got. I've no idea if the carts were actually different regions, but bizarrely, if I show you these, I'll try and do this without dropping them. So that's obviously Defender 2. And Stargate, and the artwork is exactly the same, it's just mirrored. So essentially, it's the exact same game. I already had Defender 2, but yeah, so anyway, it led me to thinking, so Defender 2 is the exact same game as Stargate. Defender 2, I presume, was like the European name for Stargate. I don't know if they re-released it as its proper name. Don't know. But anyway, I thought, do you know what, it might be fun to have a little look at Defender and Defender 2 on the Atari, because Defender gets quite a lot of stick, because it's not brilliant, let's face it. Whereas Defender 2, I have to say, or Stargate, I really enjoyed. So I thought, you know what, it might be fun to have a little look and see what the differences are. So, first up, as you can see on the screen here, I've got Defender already plugged in. So it's got all the kind of elements, sort of. It's got the bad guys in it. They pick up the humanoids as Defender, as happens in Defender. The difference is that the kind of cityscape that's down the bottom here, that you're normally defending. In the arcade, it's obviously like vector lines, and this it is a cityscape more akin to Missile Command than Defender. You do have the scanner up the top here, which is a bit too flickery to be useful. It gives you a headache. And the bad guys aren't really representative of the bad guys in Defender at all. In fact, they look like pawns out of a chess set. You do have smart bombs and such like, but that's it. So yeah, having said that, it's not bad. I mean, it's playable. It's not Defender as you know it, but it's playable. It's all right. There is one other major thing about it, and that is every time you fire, your ship disappears. I presume it's something to do with when you look at the bolt that comes out of the ship. Obviously, in the arcade, it was a single sort of vector line. It was multicoloured and it looked beautiful. In this, it's kind of multicoloured actually. It might be a trick of the eyes, right enough, but it's kind of multicoloured. But it looks like there's two kind of lines sitting on top of each other. So I don't know if, because of the limitations of the Atari hardware, that when it was rendering those two lines, it basically had to do it on the same plane as your ship, and possibly because you can only have, I think is it one player and one missile object per player, I think. I can't quite remember. So maybe because you're displaying that, maybe it's displaying two objects and it's replacing the player with a line or something. I don't know. Anyway, what happens when you fire is your spaceship disappears. So yeah, so let's grab the old CX4000 is what they're called, the iconic Atari joystick, and give it a go. So get a little bit of volume on it. It's quite a loud game. So your ship flickers sort of fuel out the back of it, no matter whether you're moving or not. So any direction you move makes the kind of thrusting noise. That means somebody's being picked up. So you can reverse. So it's quite a nice noise. When you fire, your ship disappears. So I've no idea what these things look like. Betas, but I don't know what they're supposed to be. Oh Jesus! So these are the little green guys, which look nothing like the arcade version. Now, I don't expect it to look like the arcade version, but a representation would have been nice. And I don't know what the 4 dots are. They appear to be like betas. They chase you. He's got a human, so let's just save that wee guy. So the humans are just little coloured dots. There's one there, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but so the bad guys are more like UFOs, I've just realised. Which is fine, they're the right colour at least. But the weird thing is sometimes you just die for no apparent reason as well. The bad guys do have a tendency to leave bullets lying about. But yeah, so I don't know what this thing's supposed to be, but whoa. So I mean, I don't think it's a bad game by any means. He's gone for a human. Oh, I've just noticed something quite nice actually in its favour. Let's see if I can. When the bad guys are picking up the humans, they do have a little kind of ray, like a beam up ray. Oh, there was a little kind of ray came down, so they are acting more like UFOs than the kind of Space Invader-y type characters that we all know and love from Defender, from the arcade. So you might say, yeah, see, I thought that's quite cool. Right, give me him back, Hugh. Oh, I missed him. Oops. So that's quite a nice feature. So they are treating it more like UFOs. He'll do it again, watch. And it does actually suck the little guy out. That's quite cool. Quite like that actually. Try and do it without killing the human. There we go. Right. So the physics on it are a little bit off. So the kind of floatiness of your ship, you can fly past, because the screen kind of slides about a little bit. You can fly past and miss the humans. So, but it's all right. I mean, it does get pretty frantic. Oh Jesus. So, you know, it's thoroughly playable. Oh, bad guy, right. Oh, that's quite a nice noise as well. You're waiting on it going, which it doesn't obviously, but you know. So, Defender's a little bit, see there he's doing that thing. Oh, they're getting faster, you bugger. I think this version of Defender is a lot more like, I don't know, I was going to say E.T. It's nothing like E.T. What was I thinking of? It's a representation of the arcade game. You have to take it for what it is. You know, you were never going to get the arcade experience. It's like Space Invaders, that's what I was thinking. Space Invaders on the Atari looks nothing like Space Invaders in the arcade. It's an interpretation of it. It does its own version of it, and it's thoroughly playable. And I mean, there's famously 120 something variations on, or 112 variations on the Space Invaders cart. So I think this is it's an interpretation of it, and they've kind of made it what they can. I do actually like, now that I realise that the bad guys, instead of being the kind of the guys that we all know from Defender, they are more like UFOs, and now they've made them look like UFOs. And when they come down, the fact that they actually do the little beam up, and you see the little guys kind of getting lifted up into the thing, which is quite a nice little animation thing. Little things like that can impress me, especially on the Atari. So yeah, I mean, Defender, now that I've actually spent another 10 minutes with it, it's not as bad as everybody thinks it is. You know, everybody hacks these games to bits saying, oh, your shit disappears and all that. It doesn't affect you playing it, really. It's not perfect by any means. You know, it does have its issues, but it's playable as long as you can see past. You're never going to get the arcade experience out of it. You know, it's playable for what it is in its own right. So that being said, let's just turn the TV off and we shall stick in Defender 2. Right, so here we are with Defender 2 then. Nice little kind of intro thing, marquee, intro screen, whatever you want to call it. So you'll see instantly this looks a lot more like the arcade version of Defender when we fire it up. You do actually use a second joystick with this. The fire button on the second joystick, I have my primary joystick here. Fire button on the second joystick fires your smart bombs up. I think makes you invisible, or invisio as they call it, and down puts you into hyperspace. So a little bit more control scheme to it, which is fine. I like it when they do things like that. So you don't need it all the time, you know. It's thoroughly playable without smart bombs and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so Defender 2 is indeed Stargate. In fact, well, I'll show you Stargate at the end of this just so you can see what it looks like. So yeah, let's have a game. So the only real difference with this is that the characters look more like the arcade version, and there is the Stargate, which kind of warps you. So let's have a go. That iconic noise. So nice little star field. The physics are a bit more fine-tuned. Looks a lot more like the arcade version with the kind of lines. My God, there's people getting picked up already. And the bad guys look like the Defender guys. Go away. Right, stop it. Oh, Jesus. Oops. I didn't say I was going to be good at this. So they have fixed quite a few things. They fixed the flicker. The scanner now doesn't flicker, which is quite nice. I thought I was going to get away with that. The smart bomb meter and all that is up where it is in the arcade. Yeah, it just feels a lot more. It feels more like Defender than Defender does. So there we go. That's all very nice. But yeah, it's nice. It's go away, dark thing. The physics are a little better, like I say. Oh no, I'm still useless at it. Game over. There we go. Game over. I'll tell you what. Let's chuck in Stargate so you can see that it's exactly the same game. So Stargate. Right. So my cart wasn't quite working, but let's try it again. So here we go. You can see that it's the exact same logo, apart from it says Stargate instead of Defender. So the game is exactly the same. So it's exactly the same. There's the Stargate jump. So the little people look like the people in the arcade. Go away. Now, have they actually seen what they do when they pick the people up? I think they just go down and touch them and then start lifting them. We might see one here actually. No? Oh God. So yeah, so this is a lot more like the arcade game. There we go. Yeah. But you know, part Part of me now misses, I mean I do really like this, part of me misses the little UFOs kind of hoovering the little people up. Oops. So, let's see, so if I push up on my joystick, I go invisible. I can still shoot obviously. I don't know if that fools the baiters when they're trying to come for you. I can pull down on the joystick for hyperspace, and in fact, let's go smart bomb. Hyperspace is down. There we go. I mean, the sounds in this are really nice as well. There's a lot going on. Oh. Is that it? Game over? No, oh, right. Aha. So it's nice and responsive, certainly. So that's like the little baiter thing you shoot. Whoa, you shoot it and it splits into like 3 little balls that then follow you, which you have to shoot 3 times to kill. Anyway, there we go. That is a quick sort of gameplay checkout of Defender, Defender 2 and Stargate. I didn't actually intend to do Stargate, that was a bit of a bonus I suppose, but yeah, it's so yeah, Defender is okay. It has its issues, but if you can see past that, it's still a perfectly good playable game. Defender 2 and Stargate, exactly the same game, just different labels. Plays beautifully. Stargate and Defender 2 are really nice games, quite frantic. That's why I was kind of quiet when I was playing it, because you do get into it, you forget, and you kind of get into it. So yeah, definitely worth it. If you don't have any of them, I would definitely recommend picking them up. You can get Defender for buttons. The one that I've got is actually, in fact, both my Defender games, was brand new, sealed in a multi-pack. I think this is like the 1987 sort of re-release, but it was brand new, sealed when I got it. Defender 2 was the same. It was in a box, a multi-box, when was this released? 1987. So again, the sort of re-release type box, but you know, minty fresh, which is really nice. I think I maybe got them for £3 or £4 each. I was probably just lucky at the time, but you can get them fairly cheaply, and certainly Defender 2 and Stargate are worth tracking down. I have a PAL console here. You know, it's not modded, apart from I've got an AV out thing on it, but there's no multi-region or NTSC hack or anything weird like that. So Stargate does play perfectly. If Stargate is an NTSC release, I don't know if it is, but it plays perfectly on my PAL console. And obviously Defender 2, which does have the P sticker on the back for PAL. That usually denotes PAL if it doesn't say anywhere else on the cartridge label. So yeah, so Defender 2, Stargate play perfectly well and are well worth a pick-up, but you will need a second joystick to use the extra functions that you get. You can use smart bombs in Defender. I can't remember how you actually use them. I don't think it uses a second stick. I may be wrong. It's been a while since I've read the instructions. But yeah, so that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.